Ooh, hello there, my fellow scrap mechanics. Good times with Scar here, and welcome back to Scar Industries. And at this point, we've created quite a few vehicles now. As you can see, we have Darth Vader's TIE Fighter down at the end there. We have the Land Speeder, and of course, Fred Flintstone's vehicle, and our fancy garage, where we still need to work in the interior. Now, I did make one modification to the Land Speeder. As you can see, I did add some shocks, and I took the wheels from the center, or the interior here, and put it on the exterior of the spoke, and that creates quite a bit more stability within the ride. So that works quite a bit better. All right, so let's get started with today's build. Today's build, we are going to build an X-Wing with transformable wings. So I think that'll be really cool. So let's get right into it. And as you can see, we're just gonna build this up and put it up to about 5 blocks like that. And then we're gonna start to outstretch it here. So we'll switch that over there and start to drag it out. So yeah, I think this is gonna be a really fun build today, especially starting to work a little bit more with transformable things. We haven't done a ton of that, where we've built just a lot of kind of cool looking vehicles and things of that nature. And I think this is gonna be pretty fun. So as you can see, we're just kind of building up a big chunk of rock here, where we're going to start working. Now with the X-Wing, it's going to be a little more difficult to really make it more realistic, because the X-Wing, as you can see, is like a hodgepodge of parts kind of put together that the Rebels did, and it's hard to like find the right colors and textures that it has. So this is kind of a fun inspired version of it, because it's going to be a little difficult to try to get it exactly. There we go, and we don't want it 100% exact. There we go, looking good, looking good. And we're going to pull that out like so. And yeah, I think that's starting to look pretty good. I did add some more little details on the outside, like there's a fueling station, some electricity, and just a few little details on the outside just to make it look a little bit more realistic as a kind of a, you know, industry building and mechanic shop, things of that nature. And there we go. As you can see, we're moving right along. So have you guys been playing this game? And if so, let me know. What are you guys building within Scrap Mechanic? What kind of builds and different things like that are you guys working on? There we go. I would love to hear what you guys are working on. There we go. And let's see, let me cut off these blocks along here. And I just want to thin this up just a little bit. And then on this section right about here, we're just going to make this a little thicker, because the X-Wing does have this little kind of odd shape at the very tip of it. So I was looking at some X-Wings, and they're an interesting little ship. The way the intakes on the front kind of face, and it's kind of deceiving when you really look at it and kind of figure out exactly how all the little pieces of it actually come together. All right, so I just want to get the very basics of this thing done. I don't want to get too details. I don't want to get too much into the weeds here. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. I know it looks like a building at this point, like the Empire State Building, but believe me, it's going to be worthy of Luke Skywalker. I promise you. I promise you. All right, so where we're going to work on is right about here. So we're just going to place this about somewhere in the center. As you can see, I'm going to place that right there. And I'm going to place a little Frisbee disc. There we go, looking good. So this is going to be the transformable aspect where we can actually control the wings. So I think that'll be really cool. So as you can see, we're going to go like this, and we're going to cut that out like that. And then let's see, I think I'm going to go out to, let's make sure we're rolling on the right plane. There we go. I'm going to pull that out like that. And now I'm just going to make sure this is counted out right. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think that's about 13. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another block right there, and I'm going to put another block right on that side. Looking good, looking good. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this all the way out. There we go. Now we might decrease the size of the wing, but I'm going to thin this out just a little bit on here. Let's get that all the way across. There we go. I'm going to check on this side. Perfect. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Perfect, perfect, perfect. That's just the way we like it. All right. And you guessed it. We're doing this one more time. So we're going to do this just like we did over there. We're going to go like that. Then we're going to get our little Frisbee disc, and then we're going to connect that, and then make the wing just like we did on the bottom. And welcome back. And as you can see, we've got our wings installed and they're ready to fly. So the next thing we're going to do after you get these wings all assembled, what we're going to do is we're just going to take off maybe 3 blocks here. So we're just going to take off about 3 blocks, and we're going to use this big old pipe here. I'm going to stick that pipe right there, and I'm going to see if I can get one down. Okay, all right. We can't get that one on there. So what I'm going to do is try to jump up here. There we go. And let's see if we can start to kind of get something arranged up here. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to start building this up. So I'm going to do about 3 blocks. So that's about 3 blocks high. I'm going to take this big old red pipe, and I'm going to connect it right there. And hey, that looks pretty good. It connected actually fairly well. Nice, I like that. And I'm gonna raise this up just a little bit higher. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I did not think that was gonna connect that way. But that's good. I thought it was gonna be a little off and we'd have to figure something else, but I was gonna give it a try anyway. Perfect, wonderful. And then we're gonna place that one down like that, connect that down, and as you can see, we're starting to get our intakes set up. I'm loving it. So what else we could do here is kind of put these wings back together, maybe like that. There we go. So the actual intakes themselves are a little bit different. They do kind of cut into the wing a little bit, but I think that looks better. And like I said before, we don't have to make this exact. We can put our own little take too on this. There we go. And then we can come off the back and then we can increase these off here. There we go. Awesome. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. And then jump back down here. And what we could do, this isn't going to be centered. But that's not actually out of scale, because if you look at the intakes on an actual X-Wing, you will see that the thruster on the back is a little skewed. It's very strange. I really just don't like that in my particular design, but I'm going to put that there, and I might try a couple things to make that look a little bit better so it doesn't look too far out of scale. So maybe if I do something like this, beautiful, beautiful, wonderful, and then maybe, I'm going to say maybe leave it like that. How it kind of cuts down like that. I kind of like that a little bit. Let's do this bottom section. All right, and welcome back, and let's see our progress here on our X-Wing. And as you can see, we've got it hoisted up there, and the intakes are looking pretty good. So what I've done is I've just kind of carved into the wing just a little bit. So I just took out one there and then went 1, 2, 3. And I think that looks pretty good. It just gives it a little more presence. Now, we did encounter an issue. We ended up at some point reaching some kind of weight limit or some form of too many blocks built into it, and we couldn't add any more blocks to the structure, and I do not know why that is. So what I've done in the meantime is I've come over here and I've actually hollowed this out, and then it worked perfect. So that's why I came to the conclusion that we had reached a weight limit or something along those lines. But anyway, my friends, we are going to add our pilot seat. So let's do that right now. And as you can see, we're just going to fit that in here, and we're going to try to make sure it is in somewhat of a believable fashion. So that's kind of our issue right now, is that the X-Wing's pilot, the cockpit of the X-Wing was a little bit more forward facing. This is more where R2 was, and maybe some engines and things of that nature. So that's kind of our issue right now in continuity, but like I said before, we don't have to make it exact. We can kind of put our own little spin here and there if we want to. There we go. Nothing wrong with that at all, my friends. All right, so we're just kind of filling in everything, making this look somewhat better after I had to kind of carve it all out and make sure that we had everything set up. Wonderful. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set our controller right about here, and we're going to place this button, if I can face it down. Beautiful. Awesome. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to get this loaded up. So grab out your little Ghostbusters tool. There we go. And then connect your controller down to those Frisbee discs. Now this is one of the first times I've done any kind of controlling yet. So this is very, very basic what I'm doing. And we're just going to see if this will work. And then we'll connect that, of course, to a button of some sort. Go into here. Now, as you can see, number 1 is on the top and number 2 is on the bottom there. And so number 1 should be going towards the pink, and number 2, I think, should be going towards the turquoise. So number 1 pink, number 2 turquoise. So let's do it. So let's see. There we go. And there we go. Perfect. And then we'll just jump back down here and we'll hit that button and see if this actually worked. Come on. Come on. Oh, my mistake. You got to take that off. There we go. Make sure. Oh, okay. Yep, it worked. It worked, everyone. Haha, wonderful. Now let me do the other side over here. And there we go. We've got everything pretty well set up. We've got both sides kind of retracting and coming in together. So I think that's looking pretty good. So let's jump over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to space this out by about 3. So let's see, spacing about 3 from here. So 1, 2, 3. And then having a spacing of 2 on that section. So I think that looks good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's perfect. And we're going to go down to about 3 blocks and then cut in like that and swoop around the back. So what we're working on here is adding the blasters. So we're adding the blasters. And you see this time I didn't call it a phaser. So we've got that set up. So we're working on our blasters along here. Now, when I was a kid, I loved Star Wars. Star Wars was like my life. I must have watched the last movie in the series back in the old days before there was, of course, the prequels, Return of the Jedi. I watched that movie almost every day for an entire summer. Just every day, just I'd pull up the chair right up to it. I'd fast forward to the Endor battle, and I'd watch it like crazy. Oh, I loved it when I was a kid. Later, when the prequels kind of burnt me out, I turned into a really big Star Trek fan. I've always loved space and all those good things. So that's why these series have always appealed to me. I love, space and all that good stuff. So let me just put this on there. There we go. And then from here, we're going to put that right there. And look at that. We've got ourselves a blaster cannon looking very fancy. Now, let me jump into my magical inventory. And I just need to look for something that has eluded me. Where is it? Is this it? Or is that the one that has the valve on the side? Oh, there you are. You were hiding from me, but I gotcha. But yeah, then I got into a big kind of Star Trek fan. Like, I really enjoyed that series for a long time. So I'm really excited that the new Star Wars movies have done so well. Life back into the world of Star Wars, which is such a great thing to see. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to call this, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. We can always correct it if we mixed it up a little bit. But I think I had about every Star Wars toy imaginable when I was a kid. So were you guys big Star Wars fans when you were growing up? Now, the time I got into it is when they released the Star Wars series on VHS. So it was a big old deal, like they released them on VHS. My parents had given the set, the VHS set. And I know some of you guys out there are like, VHS, Scar, what are these words? What do these initials stand for? It was what I'm talking about is a VHS before DVDs. At some point, somebody's going to ask me what a DVD is. But VHS was this large little, it was rectangle. And it carried tape, and you filled the tape up in there, and you put it in your VHS player, and it unwound it and played it in your VHS player, kind of like a DVD. So at that time, that was of course the only option, and it was decent quality. I loved it a lot, and oh man, I just love those VHS when we got them. When you think about it at certain times in your life, when something pivotal happens and something has changed, it's like, oh wow, that was like a point where I really started like getting into something, especially at like a young age. So little things like that are cool, how they teach like a young kid at like 5 years old, like start learning how the physics work on an Apollo rocket, all stemmed from a goofy movie about space pirates. It's kind of cool. Anyway, as you can see, we have our blaster cannons over there, and I'm just going to make them on the side. All right, and welcome back. And as you can see, we are getting this thing all together and ready to go. One little modification, as you can see, I did change the kind of white section right here to 2 instead of 3, and then kept the turquoise section still at 3. So that's looking the same. And yeah, so what we want to work on now is these side pieces. We want to kind of make this look a little bit more. We just want to start making it look a little more streamlined. Getting some more detail down so it's not just a couple boxes. So we're just trying to kind of shape this up a little bit and just trying to bring it in a little bit. Just get those little bits of detail here and there. So yeah, we're just going to slowly get those in there. One issue we're going to contend with is the ramp or the lift here. The lift is going to definitely impede what I want to do with this section down here. I want to bring this over like that. And as you can see how that's starting to add some more detail. There is no way that I know of to move the lift, to try to, have it, connect to a different part of the vehicle, unfortunately. If you guys know of a way, well, you guys know how to let me know, don't you? So, yeah, definitely let me know if you guys do, because it can definitely get frustrating when you need to put a wheel or a different piece where that is stuck. All right, there we go. Awesome, look at that. See, those just little bits of modifications here and there can really start to pull the vehicle all together and start making it feel a little bit more natural and streamlined. Because that's kind of the key at this point, is turning these boxes into something that's a little bit more streamlined, ready to fly throughout the galaxy and attack those pesky little stormtroopers. All right, so I think that is looking good. So let's bring this back down. There we go. And I'm actually really liking the front so far. All right, so let's jump back here, and I just want to enclose the cockpit just ever so slightly, just so it gets a little bit of feeling like it's enclosed, and we can do like a little R2 droid in the back. Start coming up with some ideas for me, okay? We need to come up with an idea for an R2 droid. I've got no idea, so I guess we're just gonna have to play it by ear at this point. One other thing I did in the back, I did, cut out a little bit right here, and I did do this band that runs along here, just giving it those little extra bits of detail. There we go. All right, so have you guys thought of how we're gonna make an R2? Because I sure haven't yet. We could do something with a ducked corner. We could do, that could be an R2 unit, a little duckling, but let's jump over here. Let's grab this, or we already have one. And then I'm thinking maybe either this or that, and we can decide once we got it in there. Let's do it like right here, here, and there, and then we'll just put these guys on top like that. And we need to make something like a face or something. This thing needs a face of some, oh my gosh, that looks like a trash can. Well, I mean, R2 does, let's be honest, he looks a little like a trash can. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, little guy, but you gotta do just a little bit, just a little bit. All right, there we go. And put those across there. And I'm like, didn't we just repeat what we just did? I think we just did. So let's put that like there. Yeah, just continue to add some extra little detail along that section right there. And then we can jump up here, and then we can maybe just, I don't know, just little bits here and there, just to give it that extra little bit of detail. I would love to be able to have some form of glass, but unfortunately, once again, there's still no glass within the game. And there we go. I'm feeling pretty confident about this at this point. So give me 1 second. Let me put some wheels on the bottom, and I will be right back. And it's time to fly this throughout our little world here. All right, and welcome back. And as you can see, I've got some ridiculous wheels on the bottom. Now, the reason I chose to go with these kind of, very, very large, and then we went down quite a few blocks. So let's bring this over here just a little closer. So as you can see, we went 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a suspension, and then another block. And then, of course, these are the off-road suspension and tires. That's so that we can actually drive with the wings extended. Now, if you're just planning on using the wings as a showpiece, if you just want to open them and close them, then you don't have to go so crazy with the wheels on the bottom. But that's what we had to do because we do want to try to drive with them on. And I haven't actually tested it out yet. So that's a thing. So I'm going to place that back there, and that's just a little gas-powered engine. Oh, wait, hold on, my friends. I'm going to give that quite a bit of power because this is a pretty darn big vehicle. So I'm going to pull that back right there, and I'm going to close that back up. There we go. Close that all back up. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to connect that to these. There we go. Connect those to our big back tires. There we go. And making sure they're flowing the right way. And oh yeah, oops, connect that to there. Beautiful, wonderful, my friends. There we go. I think we are set for launch. So let's take the express route to the very top here. We're gonna need some form of elevator to get onto this vehicle. There we go. Jump up here, say hello to the R2 unit. There we go. And then let's extend the wings. Oh my gosh, how did these look? How did these look? Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. It would be so awesome if we were able to do that while we're driving. Wouldn't it? That'd be so cool if we were driving along and we could extend them. Oh, that'd be epic. All right, so let's give this thing a little drive. So let's jump up here and then let's just see how this thing works out. So we'll drive in there and away we go. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is awesome. We need to name that R2 unit in the back. Let me know if you've stayed here till the very end to see the final vehicle. You're awesome already by doing that. But let me know what you think the R2 unit should be named. And there we go, my friends. I hope you enjoyed our X-Wing build here. And yeah, it's not the most practical vehicle in the world to drive, but it's a fun vehicle. It's something fun to drive around. It's kind of a fun little showpiece. And I think it's way more practical with the wings not extended. But anyway, my friends, I thank you so much for watching today, and hopefully you enjoyed. And Red Squadron, form up. We're going in on Scar Industries. Well, until next time, my friends, this has been Good Times with Scar, and I always really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos. And if you believe the video deserved a rating, that would be much appreciated. And until next time, we'll see you later. Missing in the last episode, of course, was texture and color, and that's what I'm working on now, is trying to incorporate